Well, hello and happy Mother's Day to all of our fans and friends out there. As you know, we've been working hard to continue our Newton Area Flag Football League podcast series. We're bringing back Coach Ian, our director of player personnel and field coordinator over the past seasons, to talk to us tonight about defense. So a really important aspect of flag football is being able to not just properly pull flags, but also put players in position to succeed. So we're going to unpack tonight's podcast just by having Ian kick us off with some of his defensive strategies. And Ian, I think I'll turn it over to you. And
Yeah, so
you said you're going to share your screen, right?
yeah. Let me see here. All right, so this is the website that I use for plays, mostly just for offensive plays. But so you can go here. It's myfootballplays.com. You do have to pay to use this. So for me, that's worth it. I coach a bunch of teams, and I've done this for a while. For you, you could probably do most of this on PowerPoint. You can just get a whiteboard, a pad of paper, or anything. But for me,
so if I could interrupt there, Ian.
Yeah.
So myfootballplays.com, and about how much is it?
Let me check here. I got like the yearly subscription, so I don't remember. It's not too bad. Probably just for the you can get like a 3 months or whatever, however long our season is, for probably just like $15.
Okay,
then,
perfect.
It's more than that probably for the year, which but not too much.
All
so
right, cool.
I think so. I probably should check that beforehand, but it's not too bad. But
right.
I think you can probably just use a whiteboard, pad of paper, or anything though too, and that'll work just as well. So. But for now, I'm going to show you guys this to work on defense. So I've got 5 defenses here that you'll probably see most commonly used in the league. And so we're going to go through each one, say the strengths and weaknesses of each, and kind of for what teams I choose to run this in what situations, things like that. So starting off, this is cover 0. It's called that because you got man coverage across the board and a rusher, but there's no one responsible for the deep part of the field. So you got no safeties deep or anything like that. So that's why they call it cover 0.
All right, so and if I could just interrupt here real quick. So the guys that are indicated by X's, they're the defensive players.
Yeah. So X is defense. These color here is the offense.
Okay. And
X is the O's offense.
Is there? I mean, in typical football, right? There's certain players that are lined up. Let's say over center as a nose tackle or something like that. Would you have the same sort of definitions for your defensive players here, or is it just man-to-man?
Well, it gets more defined when you're in zone. So you have like linebackers, cornerback, safety. For with this man coverage for two, going to be man coverage. So it's basically just you've got that guy. So wherever he lines up, you line up across from him. But so that is the thing with man coverage. You can choose if you want to play kind of press man, put them way up. You move this guy way up on the ball.
Oh, I see. So
or if you want to play him off.
So part of the interface here allows you to move around your players.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, so cover 0, it's man coverage, man across the board, and you're setting a rusher here. So you're talking about strengths and weaknesses. The big strength is you've got a guy responsible for every player, and you're getting pressure on the quarterback. So it's tougher to complete easy passes. Everyone's going to be, wherever this guy goes, this guy's running with him. That goes for every single player on the team. If you got good matchups, if you got guys who are strong in coverage, you're going to be able to stay with them pretty well, and you're getting pressure on the quarterbacks. There's not a lot of time to throw. The big downside is there's no one responsible deep. So
and just to, sorry to interrupt there, but just to refresh, the rusher, according to NFL flag rules, has to line up 7 yards deep, right?
Yeah. So he's 7 yards back, and again with the so I take it situationally based on where you're lined up on the field, stuff like that. How far deep or short you want to play your corners or whoever you want to call the guys in coverage. So say for example, if we're in the red zone, you could put these guys, or in a short yardage situation, maybe a third down, something like that. You may put them closer up on the line of scrimmage to stay right on the receivers tight for those quick crossing routes. If you think it's going to hit that for a first down. If you're worried about the deep ball, say the team's got a strong arm, they're going deep a lot, you can play your guys a little bit deeper off the ball. So you're giving up the short route, that quick slant is going to be open, but you're in better position for the deep ball. So basically. Yeah.
If I could, just jump in terms of the rusher, do you normally pick somebody there who's like especially fast or tall, or what are you looking for as far as characteristics for someone to rush the quarterback?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the rusher's got to be someone fast because you want to get pressure on that quarterback, especially if you're playing this defense where no one's responsible deep. You don't want to give him all day to throw. So for some defenses, you may say, "Well, put one of our lesser players in at rusher because we want to be able to cover everyone well." Well, if that's the case, you're not getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. You're giving him all day to throw. If you got a safety back, maybe you don't mind that as much. But I think in this defense, you want to have a fast rusher. But I'd also say probably not your best player as rusher. So you probably want someone who's like fast but also short or not as good in coverage. To say you're probably going to want your best player, like say this guy right here is the other team's best player. One of the pros of man is you can put your best player directly on him. He's going to cover him all day, stay on that guy. So you're probably not going to want that guy to rush because then you're putting a lesser player on this guy. He's got a better matchup. So I'd say a rusher is one of your faster players, but maybe one who's not as good in coverage because you want to get pressure on the quarterback, but you also don't want to take away one of your better players from coverage. So that's how I'd go about it.
Right. Good.
And so, yeah,
Good to know.
that's another one of the strengths of man coverage is unlike a zone where a guy's responsible for a particular area of the field has to cover whoever goes into that area. With man, you can cover your best player on the other team's best player. He's going to stay on him all game. Conversely, one of your lesser players can cover the other team's lesser players. So you're matching up pretty well. So yeah, man, the strength of this cover zero is if you feel you've got a really good team where you can match up with everyone very well, it's going to be tough to beat. So I've played against teams that are among the best teams in the league. They've played us cover zero all game. It's been tough to beat them because it's tough to get good matchups. Everyone's going to playing tight coverage, and you're getting pressure on the quarterback. So even though they don't have that safety deep, it's hard to beat any of these guys deep because they're all good in coverage. I think only in a situation like that, either if we're playing against a team where I'm not worried about the deep ball, I don't think the quarterback's good enough to throw it, and I think even on the underneath routes, we can run with the receivers pretty well. I'd run this as just a base defense anywhere on the field. Other than that, I'd run this more in red zone and short yardage situations because it's best at taking away the quick pass because you're going to run with everyone. There's no one back deep at safety, so there's no big holes like you're playing a zone. There's no real open parts of the field that you're not covering. You're going to run with everyone and get pressure on the quarterback. So it's tough to complete a pass on this. But the issue, it's kind of high risk, high reward. So you're making it tougher to complete a pass. But if they do complete a pass, chances are it's going to go for good yardage because that means their receiver beat one of your defenders.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, one last issue with man in general is you can – so the problem with it's not like zone where you have to stay on one side of the field, but at least you're covering particular areas of the field. And man, if this guy's running across the field, then this guy's got to run with him. And so say if this center is going the opposite direction, like this, he's pretty much one-on-one over there. If he beats his man, these guys are still over there. This guy's going across the field. He's one-on-one. That's pretty much a touchdown because you got no safety deep. This guy's coming across the field. And if these guys are staying over there. So again, if you have a good matchup, that's the problem with man. It's particular cover zero where there's no safety deep is if you lose on your route and they complete a pass, there's a good chance of going for big yardage.
Right.
So again, one of the ways, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt there, but I was going to say, I know a common offensive play is to have, the quarterback hand the ball off to, a running back or a wide receiver, and then the quarterback and him or herself goes out in coverage. And it seems like this defense wouldn't be well equipped to handle something like that.
Yeah, well, what you'd have to do is tell the rusher that he's covering the quarterback. So usually he's just going to be rushing unless the quarterback hands it off. So the thing about this defense is you do have a player responsible for every player on offense. You just need that rusher to know. So if it's a quick handoff, so we've got a running back here, quarterback hands it off, then whoever's covering the running back, this guy is now your rusher, and the rusher is now playing coverage on the quarterback. So you want them to say, okay, that's your man, and you're going to stay on him no matter what. You could also switch that to say you want to tell your rusher just rush no matter what, and then you can tell this guy if his man gets the ball and now he's on the quarterback, you could switch it like that. But it's probably easiest just to tell everyone this is your guy and make sure your rusher knows that the team's going to run that play a lot. If you see a running back in the back there, just let him know. If it's a handoff and he's looking to pass, make sure you're covering the quarterback.
Hey, so I know we kind of came into this session with a few ideas you wanted to cover, but if you don't mind, like, what would your recommendation be? So I know you're in a man, but let's just say the red player there moves over to the right side. And so you've got a formation where you've got three wideouts basically all on the right side of the line of scrimmage. Could you move them over there?
Yeah, sure.
So let's say that guy lines up over there. Do you keep that defensive player at home on the left side there? Just a
you got to move him over. You got to move him over if you're playing man, because if he just stays here, This guy goes deep. There's nothing to cover.
So no
that.
matter what, you just
If
line
you're
them
playing
up.
cover zero, you have to play man coverage. Your guy on a defender. There's
Okay.
some ways to get around this. You can play with leverage. So say, so this guy. So in this scenario, you have 3 to the right. This guy's in the center, and the left looks pretty wide open. You can
Mm-hmm.
have your guy closest to the left play, just lined up a bit to the side, like a step to the left.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
now so we're most worried about, and you'll see teams run this. They put 3 guys to the right, the center, just a quick out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's going to be pretty deadly, like I showed earlier, even if
That
you
looks
had the guy
familiar.
right
Yeah.
over there. So
I've
he's
seen
going to
that
play
play.
this to the side. That way, so he's in perfect position to take that route because he's already on the outside. He's already moved over to the left. So if this guy's got to cut right under him and just have a ton of speed, and if that guy's one of your faster players, chances are you've got a faster player on him as well. And so then even if this guy runs the opposite way,
Mm-hmm.
now he's got to run through all of this. He's going to get
Mm-hmm.
slowed down. So even though this guy is a bit out of position, about a step out of position, he'll catch up easily and this play, probably coach isn't going to run that very often. It's tricky to really get that right because he's now going to run through his 3 receivers and these 3 defenders. And so the defender should be able to easily stay with that. You're most worried about the route the opposite way. So you're going to play with leverage to the outside.
So, so your advice would be not to, necessarily change your strategy if you think there's some kind of decoy kind of trick formation, if you will, being set up on the offense.
Yeah, that's one thing. I was going to kind of get to that in the next episode where we're
Okay.
going to go over offense and talk about formations and kind of plays that you can use to attack each of these defenses. So yeah, as a general rule, so just to introduce everyone, so this is cover zero. It's called that because there's no one responsible for the deep part of the field. You're playing man coverage across the board and you have a rusher. But yeah, and we'll get to next time. An easy way to kind of combat this and make it tough on the defense is to make a difficult formation where, say, the receivers are all close to each other.
Yeah, yeah.
So now, yeah.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Well, just so now the defenders all have to go right there too.
Yeah.
You can see they're right in a line, right next to each other. This guy runs a quick crossing route. His defender now has to run through all of this and stay with that. That's going to be tough to do.
Yeah.
So, but again, there's ways around that, which we'll get to next time.
Sure. And then one last thing, maybe you could just comment. I mean, you talked a lot about the cover zero and its susceptibilities mostly against the passing game, but would you say it's an effective strategy for the running to stop the running game as well, or
well, that's the thing. So it's nice against the run if you have good matchups because everyone's responsible for one player. But you can do the same thing that I mentioned earlier with the with routes. You have one guy going in the opposite direction of everyone else. You can do that with the run too, and you can also do that. Say we'll bring all 3 to the right. That'll make it easier. So they've all got to stay with their defenders. We have 3 to the right. There's no one here on the left. Let's say the center is running out to the right. And we'll say just like blue here is going to come around the quarterback and take a handoff.
Yeah.
And let's say and red and green are going off to the right also.
Yeah.
Their men are all going to have to stay with them going that way. They're probably just going to be looking at their guy and running to the sideline. He's got a one-on-one up the sideline with this guy. So you still have a man on him, but if blue is faster than the defender on him, that's going to be pretty much an easy touchdown because he's just coming straight up the middle and they're all going off to the right. You just got a one-on-one. But the thing is, you still do have that one-on-one. So if you can still put your best player right on their best running back, make it tougher on them. But yeah, that is going to be difficult because if he loses, he misses the flag, he's giving up a touchdown. One thing you can do to combat that: rush from an angle.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah, I know a lot of players and coaches like to send their rusher from straight on down the middle, but I think you can find a lot of alleys if you put that rusher offset, and it also gives a different look to the offense to try to think about what's coming at them. Yeah,
that is a good point. I would usually only move my rusher kind of this far out if I'm playing cover zero and I'm worried about the defense all being on one side of the field, and I'm worried about that handoff.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I usually wouldn't go straight up the middle because you're probably running into the center, and there's a man on him too right there. I won't want to put him too far out to the side though, because I mean the shortest distance can be a straight line rather than a diagonal. So now he's got to run a lot more area, and also he's just flushing the quarterback out to the right. So if this guy runs here, it's just a regular passing play. Now the quarterback can roll out pretty easily and buy a bunch more time there. So you're making it a little easier on the quarterback. You're giving him more time to throw by rushing from way out here. But I'd do that if I see this lineup and I'm in cover zero to worry about the run. And I'd also always rush him just a step to the side so that he can avoid the center and just come from a slate angle, but he's still going pretty close right at the quarterback.
All right. Well, that's good stuff. I think in the interest of time and the fact that it is Mother's Day, I'm going to get to making some dinner for my wife. But want to thank you for your time. And like you said, next time I think we can focus on how an offense can try to decipher and read what kind of defenses are coming at them. What cues you might see and like what alternating strategies might work well against certain defenses if you think you can diagnose it. Sure. Any quick last words, Ian, before we call it the end to episode 3, I guess, for us?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. And there's a couple other defenses. We just went to one type of man coverage. You also play cover 1, cover 2, cover 3. We'll go through all those in future episodes and try to, get you guys used to pretty much everything you'll see come game day.
Yeah, everything. It sounds great. And then it's my first time seeing myfootballplays.com, but that looks like a really useful interface, and maybe we can talk to them about helping set up our coaches with some access to this too.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ian. Have a great night. Take care.
You too.
Be well.
Thank you.